Welcome back to the Shop Mini RC, everybody. I'm Ken, and today we're going to be looking at the Furitek FX118. We've been getting a ton of questions about binding and updating the ESC on this guy, so I want to show you real quick just how simple it is to bind it and update the ESC and some of the basic settings in the app. All right, guys, first things first, I just want to remind you, don't leave your battery plugged in, even with the ESC turned off. You should never leave batteries plugged into RCs. Sometimes they still drain power from the battery, and if it's sitting for a while, you can end up with a LiPo that goes below safe LiPo voltage, which is basically 3.2 per cell. It'll actually drop it all the way to 0, which can really damage the battery. So just don't keep your batteries plugged in, even if the ESC is off. It's a bad habit to be in. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to bind the truck. So we're going to go ahead and just turn on our transmitter while holding the bind button. It'll put it into a blink mode. And then it's as simple as turning on or plugging in your rig. You'll hear it beep. It'll flash. Even though it doesn't look like anything happened, it did bind. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and turn it off, turn it back on, and now we're bound up. Okay? Well, not bound up. We're binded. We're bound. We're bound. Not bound up as in bound, but you know what I mean. Anyway, guys. All right, so our transmitter is now bound to our receiver. We're good to go. So let's go ahead and look at the Furitek app now. So the first thing you're going to want to do on the Furitek app is make sure that you're updated in the App Store. Whether you're on an Android or an iPhone, just make sure you're all the way updated, the app itself. And then once you're in the app, you'll see this. This little wavelength is looking for a car. And I think the Android looks a little different. Either way, any other Bluetooth trucks that are on will also show on here. If they're Furitek, just make sure you choose the correct one. That's also why you can rename your truck. So you can change your Bluetooth name so you can identify your trucks. We're going to go to Firmware Update or Update Firmware. You can see all the information here. Okay, our current firmware version is 1.7. We're going to update it to 1.8. Depending on the ESC, there may be other firmware updates. You always just want the highest one. So 1.8, 1.9. Whatever, if once this gets up to like 1.10, 1.11, 1.12, it's a little different than most versioning, but it's, 11 is higher than 8. And it's not 1.11, it's 1.11. Anyway, go ahead and update the firmware. You'll see this guy start doing its thing. Ta-da! You hear the truck reset. You can go ahead and back out and try to reconnect here. There you go. You can go to update firmware. You can see that we updated. We're now at 1.8. Okay. Looks like they've got the default already set up for LiPo cutoff. That's something I like to always try to set at the, when you first get one of these things, always set your LiPo cutoff. I put it at 3.3 or 3.4. Just depends, just to be a little bit extra safe. You can also change your voltage here, your forward reverse type settings. So you have forward, and then reverse with brake. So that way you go forward, brake, then reverse, or just forward, reverse. And then there's just forward with brake. That's more for racing. Change your, rotation direction of your motor, startup, all that kind of good stuff. There's all your different max forwards, max reverses. You also can set your calibration here. Let's go ahead and do that real quick. When I do this, I like to flip the truck over just in case something weird happens. If you calibrate it wrong, there could be potential for the truck to just run off. So it's going to ask you to set your 0 speed. That's basically on your throttle, setting nothing, okay? So we'll say okay. That's neutral. And then you're going to set your max speed, okay. And then you're going to set your max brake or reverse, same thing. All right, and now that bar should sit in the middle. Here we go. So now we're perfectly calibrated to be a full neutral, forward, and reverse. Seems good. You can also change your low speed here, neutral brake, punch, all that good stuff. All right, and then your throttle curve. I have a very in-depth of what all this stuff does video right over here. You can check that out, and it kind of goes through all the different settings and whatnot. All right. Make sure you're always on Venom with this Venom motor, and you can do crawler or monster truck. That changes kind of how it drives a little bit, and if you have freewheeling and stuff. Anyway, definitely come in and check out this stuff and check out that other video, but simple as that. Now you know how to bind and how to update your firmware on the Furicar app. All right, guys, make sure you like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell, do all those things you do at ends of videos you like. And if you know anybody else that has a new Fury Wagon, make sure you send this their way. You definitely want to get your Fury Wagon on the newest firmware version 1.8. It fixes some of the issues that came when it got shipped with the motor switching, and there were some other random little issues. Nothing big, but some minor issues, and that 1.8 firmware will update you to the newest firmware and get you going with no issues. Alrighty guys, get out there, build something awesome. Build a car, course, or community, and then smash it, crash it, and bash it, but don't break the expensive parts.